All Things Green. I'm Anton, here with my co-host Shelby to discuss a variety of topics from across the sustainability universe. Shelby, how's it hang?
I'm doing pretty great, but I am, just sitting here in Ohio, and you are a world traveler, so
Yeah.
I want to hear from you.
Pretty much, yeah. So I bought a van for $7,000 and decided to drive it all over God's green earth.
Yeah?
Hit Colorado, Utah, Southern California, Northern California, Oregon, and Washington State.
And Missouri. Let's not leave Missouri out.
No, I left out the boring states on purpose.
No. Just as a little reminder, that's where I'm from. So maybe you
Missouri.
Loved Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri was pretty cool. It was driving for 4 or 5 hours, and
It's the cave state.
in the heat dome. It was really hot. Yeah, it was all right.
Tell us about the places that maybe impressed you more.
Bryce's Canyon was awesome. Bryce Canyon National Park. You got to see the hoodoos. You know hoodoos?
Nope.
Hoodoos are like these. It's red rock out in Utah, and it's basically just like the way that the rocks erode. There's like just these standing stone structures, and there's tons of them, and they sit in this valley. And so I watched the sunrise at Bryce Canyon National Park, and just to see that golden hour on the hoodoos was just so dope, so cool.
Yeah, I can see the sun you got on your
Yeah,
face. I mean,
know.
you look very healthy. You look very...
I'm thriving out there.
You are thriving.
Baked beans and coffee was basically my sustenance for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. I actually did only bake a few spoonfuls of baked beans and coffee before Yosemite Falls, which was crazy. That's Northern California, and I hiked to the top of the falls, and I felt pretty close to death after that.
So what I'm hearing is that you really took advantage of a lot of places in the U.S., but particularly you keep mentioning a lot of national parks.
Yeah. I was not interested in seeing the city so much. I wanted to see what God's creation had to offer me.
Sure. I love to hear it. And how many national parks do you think you hit along the way?
Let's see. I hit 7 or 8 maybe.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I think we might be tied now. We talked about national parks once
Yeah.
before, and I think at the time you'd been to Cuyahoga Valley, and that was your national park repertoire.
Yeah.
But now you're expanding that.
Yeah, and you did give me the tip to go see the Great Dunes in Colorado.
Did you like that?
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I hiked to the top of Hidden Dune, and that was just so cool, man. The view was so dope. Yeah, the views. The elevation kind of kicked my butt because I'm a flatlander, but
That's okay. But you got to see a lot of parks.
yeah, a lot of parks, and that's what we're talking about today, Shelby. It's gonna be a park episode.
I love a good park. I'm wearing my Big Bend National Park t-shirt for those
Yeah.
who can't see it at home.
I'm wearing my Big Bend National Park T-shirt too.
Oh, wow, that's so ironic.
Yeah. So, one of these quotes that have been going around on the interwebs lately is, "You're not going to get views like this at your Target in Indiana." Sharon, or I don't remember what name they have.
I've seen that. It's like
Some pretentious dude in Colorado, right?
at his Target, but looking at the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that one going around.
Which is pretty cool. Mountains are cool, but parks don't have to be these grandiose areas to be good for us, right?
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk a little bit about how local governments really benefit from some of these parks. Just having people live in their city, pay property taxes, shop at local businesses. These parks are draws for people to live and work in the city. And so I'm really excited to get into it. So,
And I just want to be clear that you're talking about all parks, not just national parks,
all
right?
things parks.
All things parks.
Yeah. Not just state parks or national parks. We're talking about even just your neighborhood park with the, playground and the swing set and, maybe a few trees or something like that.
Mine, I can throw out my compost because I do Rust Belt Riders. Shout out to Joe King.
That's the coolest, Joe King. So, for instance, here in Cleveland, we have the Cleveland Metroparks. And the Metroparks is what's called a special district. They're kind of a political entity that crosses political boundaries. So, it might cover one municipality and another municipality and another city, but it's kind of one entity that's a governing body that makes decisions and works as kind of a small-time government. on other governments' properties.
Interesting. I didn't realize that. I guess I just assumed that Cleveland Metroparks was part of City of Cleveland's government.
Yeah, they have like a board of directors and stuff like that.
Interesting.
They're not publicly elected, I don't think, but they do act that way, and they even levy taxes. They have a levy that goes up every now and again that has never failed because we love our parks out here.
Yes.
So that's kind of a cool anomaly.
Metroparks are always rated. Cleveland Metroparks are always rated some of the best in the nation. So we're really lucky to live here.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of what you're trying to talk about today is like that was a draw for me to come live here, and hopefully governments feel that it's a draw for others as well.
Yeah, so you can live, shop, pay taxes here. And actually, Springwater Parks and Community District, a special district in Oregon, they actually talk a little bit about this. They have a whole website dedicated to why they think that their parks are important. They're basically saying this is why we levy taxes from you, so that we can create this ecotourism. For one, like parks create higher property values. So it's going to, if you wanted to sell your home tomorrow and there was parks around it, you're going to see more of a higher sale,
like a return on investment, maybe?
A higher return on investment with parks near you. On top of that, health impacts, right? Absolutely. You're going to be a healthier person if you're taking advantage of your local parks, things like that. And you're a public health person, so you know all about, getting out and being active.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, in a previous job, we utilized local parks and recreation, which often is under parks departments, like recreation centers, I should say, to host classes, both physical activity classes like Zumba or like dance classes or yoga classes. But then we also would have things like cooking demonstrations. So parks can serve as a great place for someone to go be active, but also are utilized a lot by public health professionals to provide public health education and services.
Yeah, community spaces, right? And then on top of that, like if you are a healthier person, ideally you're going to be spending less on medical bills, and you're going to be able to put that back into the local economy as well. And Springwater Parks and Community District, they reference that. Like this is it's an economical solution, which is great because I think a lot of people, they're looking at environment and economy always clashing, right? They're mortal enemies, but it's not so. They are things that work together. And also on top of that, in our work from home environment and our work from home age,
yes,
companies who have work from home employees, they can go anywhere in the world. They can go live in a van. But if they wanted to pick a home or a residence to settle down in, like you said, those parks are going to be big draws for people for where they want to live. If it's a great park system, or if it's a beautiful area, or if it's just accessible, close to home, like that's a big draw. You don't want to live in like a concrete jungle. You want to live in a beautiful green community.
At least we do. And, you mentioned that, like, you don't get views like this at your Indiana Target thing. But I also think they don't have to be, as you said, these big grandiose views. One of the motivations for me to live in my neighborhood is that there was a park around the corner that's very simple. There's nothing about it that stands out to me as far as its inherent beauty. I mean, there's like a lovely pollinator garden that looks really nice, but it's mostly just a flat patch of grass that gives people a place to be outside. It's got trees. Like I said, I can drop my compost off there. I see kids running and playing there all the time, and I can walk there in about 4 minutes. I know I've tracked the time because one time I put scones in the oven and I thought, let's go drop off the compost before the scones get done. And I had a timer set and I made it.
That's risky.
Yeah, it was risky.
I wouldn't have done that.
You probably shouldn't leave your oven on.
That's on your new home?
In my brand new home. Listen, I'm not giving advice. I'm just saying that that's why I know that I can walk there and back in under 10 minutes. Because that was a motivation for me to have something close by.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the nice thing is, even the Northeast Ohio's municipalities are like super fragmented. We're not like a big sprawling city like LA. We're like a city. Cleveland is a city that is landlocked by other suburbs, which is like landlocked by other outer ring suburbs. And it's kind of like everybody's competing for, this business to come to my city. Like that's like a big point of, like a big talking point for elected officials when they run for office. They're like, I'm going to bring business here, blah, 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 blah. And one way that the region really benefits as a whole is through the Cleveland Metroparks, really tying together the whole region through the Emerald Necklace and hiking trails and even just like roads. Like we just have roads that connect the entire county through the metro parks.
Define the Emerald Necklace for anyone who doesn't know.
The Emerald Necklace, Cuyahoga County is kind of like shaped like a donkey, and the sorry.
It is. I mean, it is.
Yeah, kind of. So the Emerald Necklace is like a trail that spans like all the way from like, what is that, Bay Village to Euclid, and it connects up top near the lake too, on Edgewater Park, and it's just this big outline of Cuyahoga County.
Okay, great.
So,
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've never hiked it or biked it. I think it's 53 miles total, and I would like to do that someday.
Cool.
See all of the Emerald Necklace.
Well, you're telling us a lot about why parks are good for us as citizens and residents, and also why they might be good for local governments who are trying to bring in businesses. How do you do that? Like, do you have solutions for cities that want to invest more in their parks?
Yeah, absolutely. So elected officials, I think sometimes there's this groupthink mentality at the local level of like, we have to develop our green space, we have to bring businesses here and manufacturing and whatever. But people don't really care to move to these areas that are just like kind of concrete jungles. Like that's not my taste. I'm not saying maybe some people want to live next to manufacturing, but I don't. But being able to have a dialogue with our elected officials and say, hey, this would be good for our property taxes. This is going to be a draw for our city. If we really want people to move here, we should be investing more in revitalizing green spaces, taking advantage of our undeveloped land, and maybe having the city buy out some of this property, put in like a nature preserve or a hiking trail, and also just hiring like progressive city planners and economic developers who understand that developing a city's economy is not just building things. It's about creating a community that works and places where people feel like they can thrive and take their kids out and hang out and spend the day and enjoy themselves.
And parks help us do that.
Parks help us do that. So I would say dialoguing with our elected officials, I think a lot of them are very open to these kinds of solutions or changes. And even if you can't get them to like just create a new position and hire a city planner that understands all of that, they might think twice about, voting yes on this like cookie cutter development that just got passed through the planning commission. They might ask some questions and make sure that nature and green spaces are valued in the city.
Yeah.